Hello? Is anyone there? That's better. What is up, people? Dunna here, and today we're going to be going over some basic video lighting techniques, as well as I'm going to show you guys how I light my videos. Lighting in videography can be really complicated, and the possibilities are basically endless. However, I want to show you a couple of simple principles that will help you to improve the lighting in all of your videos. After we go through the basic principles, I'm going to show you how I put them all to use in my personal setup, and make sure to stick around to the end because there's a bonus tip that's going to take you to the next level. All right, let's get lit. Sorry, I had to. Okay, so all the things that I'm about to talk about can get really sciencey really fast, but I'm gonna try and keep them in layman's terms and make them easy to understand. The first thing we're gonna talk about is hard light versus soft light. These terms may seem familiar. Lots of people on YouTube are talking about them when they're referring to lighting. Often it seems that they're trying to get the softest light possible for their subject. But just remember that hard light and soft light are just tools. You can use them whenever you think that they're necessary. What these terms actually refer to is how hard or soft these shadows are in your frame. Do the shadows have a hard defined line, or do they have a soft gradual gradient from the lightest to the darkest point? There are two things that determine how hard or soft your light is. The first one is the size of the light source in comparison to the subject. The bigger the light source, the softer the light is going to be. The other thing is the distance between the light source and the subject. The closer the light is to the subject, the softer the light will be. But I like to think of the size and the distance as kind of the same thing. Hear me out. Have you ever done the thing where you close one eye and you squish things with your fingers? The further your victim gets away from you, the smaller they appear to be between your fingers. This is kind of the same thing when we're thinking about the size of our light. We might have a really big light source, but if we move it far away, it acts like it's a small light source. A perfect example of this is the sun. It's literally the largest light source we have, and yet it can still cast pretty hard shadows. The reason for this is because even though it's a giant burning ball of gas, it's so far away that it acts like it's a small light source. Now, if there are clouds in the sky, they take that pinpoint light source and they spread it out. So the sun is no longer actually the source, it's now the clouds that we're considering our light source. And even though if we were to measure the clouds, they would be significantly smaller than the sun, because they're so much closer to us, it makes the shadows softer. And that brings us to our next point, diffusion. What the clouds are doing in the previous scenario is adding a layer of diffusion between the sun and the earth. We can use diffusion to soften our light. For example, a really popular light amongst filmmakers and YouTubers is the Aperture 120D, and you'll often see it paired with the Aperture Light Dome. The 120D on its own is a very small light source, and so it would cast hard shadows. But you take that small light source and you throw it into a layer of diffusion and spread it out, and instead of a light source that's only a couple of inches wide, you've now got one that's a couple of feet wide. And because of this, you're gonna get much softer light. Another thing that you can do to soften light is you can bounce it off something larger than your light source. For example, you could use a light umbrella or reflector, or you could use a ceiling or a wall, but just be careful of the color of those because it is gonna cast back onto your subject. The next thing that we need to know is how light dissipates over distance. The closer the light source is to the subject, the brighter the subject will be. We all know that. But what a lot of people don't know is how that light dissipates over a distance. So for example, my main light here, how much of it is hitting the front of my face and how much makes it to the back of my head, or even all the way into the background. The inverse square law tells us that every time you double the distance between a light and a subject, you're actually gonna lose 3/4 of the light that you had to start with. Blah, 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 science, math, what does it mean? Okay, so take this for example. You've got two objects, one in front and one behind. The closer you get the light to the objects, the more difference you're gonna see between the light on the front object and the light on the back object. The more you pull the light back, the less of a difference you're gonna notice between the light on the front and back object. Here's another example. If I put a side light on my face like this, see how quickly the light dissipates before it gets to the other side of my face. Now, if I move the light back and turn it up to match exposure, you'll notice that much more of my face is being lit. Because I'm farther from the light, it's not dissipating as quickly at this point. Now we can think about this for faces because we want to understand the fall off from one side to the other or from the front to the back, but hold that thought because we're going to come back here for another reason too. Okay, so now that we've got the basics down, let's break down how I use all of those things in my light setup. Now for my videos, I typically use a 2-light setup. I've got a key light here and a rim light up behind me. There are lots of different names for where and how you use your lights, but I'll save that for another video. For the purposes of right now, understand that my key light is the main light that I use to light the subject, and my rim light is used to give me this nice glow over my shoulder and separate me from the background. I've played around a lot with different key lights in the last couple of months, and right now I'm currently using the Falconize SO28TD, and I get it as close as I possibly can, just off to the right side, up just above my face and pointing down slightly. And when I say as close as I can, I mean like if I move this even just a little bit, you'll start to see it in the frame. Previously, I played around with having a light source further away with the sheet of diffusion to make the light source bigger, but there are a couple of reasons why I like to go this way. First of all, even though it's not a large light source, by getting it closer, I get a nice soft look on my face. It's not super soft, but it still gives me a flattering look while still leaving a little bit of the cinematic drama in there. Now, you could achieve the same level of softness by using a larger light source pushed back, but remembering what we learned earlier about the inverse square law, by getting the light source so close to me, it means that the fall off is quick and it leaves the background darker. If I was to take this same light and push it back and have to turn it up, the lighting between me and the background would be more even. I like to have a nice dark background because it separates between me and the background so that it draws the viewer's eye to the subject. And the second light that I have, my rim light up on the C-stand back there, is directly above and behind me, and it's pointing straight down with no diffusion at my shoulders and the back of my head. And all it does is it gives me this nice glow on my shoulders, again separating me from the background and drawing the attention to me. I just want all of the attention. The only other lights in the scene are called practicals, and they're actually lights that would exist in the scenery. So for example, there's a lamp over here and there are these little candles up on the shelves. And a bonus tip, something that can be fun to play with and take your creativity to the next level, is to play with the temperatures of your lights. And when I say temperatures, I mean color temperatures. So we have light ranging from orange to blue. Typically the most orange will be somewhere around 2700 Kelvin, and the most blue will be somewhere around 5600 Kelvin, which is ranging from tungsten to daylight. Right now my key light is set to daylight, so I've also matched my camera so that my skin tone looks good. However, my rim light actually has an orange filter on it to make it more like a tungsten color. The reason I like this is because then it feels like the rim light is actually coming from the practicals in the background, which also have that tungsten color. But what you can do is actually switch that around too. So if I was to set my key light to be tungsten colored and match the camera, so again my skin tone looks right, and then have my rim light be daylight colored, so much more blue, then all of a sudden the rim light on my shoulder is going to be this way more blue color. And you can play with this in all sorts of ways, basically setting your camera a certain way and then adjusting the lights to look different colors within your scene. Think about potentially lighting up the background a totally different color. Kind of cool, right? So that's my setup, but as always, I want to turn it over to you. How are you lighting stuff? Do you have any special techniques that you think everyone should know? Leave a comment below, let's start a conversation. If you had fun and you learned something, make sure to give this video a like, it really does help, and I'll see you next time.